This video is sponsored by Dropbox. Hey, my name is Andres. I'm a tech YouTuber and I guess a lifestyle creator. Look, what I want to say is that for the most part, not always, I like to get tech and give it a run for its money. And ever since I started using some of the Samsung Galaxy S series phones, I've been kind of trapped in their ecosystem. I'm no longer an Apple fanboy. As of today, I'm not sure what I am, but I love being able to try different phones. For the past 4 months, this has been my daily, the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Great phone, not perfect, but you know what? Let me just go through how the past 4 months have been for me. I'm not much of an A-roll guy, but I casually like to sit down with you guys and just chat. Where shall we start? I got it. This thing is a brick. It has nothing to do with the S24 Ultra in particular, but rocking big phones, it's not easy. They aren't really pocket phones. I find myself dropping this in my car seat more than I can count. My pockets aren't that deep, so it tends to like slip out. I did just recently get this Mac back case. It's like very rubbery, so it kind of helps with the slide. I also have my muffed wallet and muffed tripod stacked on it. The chunkier, the less it tends to slip, if that makes sense. But then I feel like I'm carrying around those VM1 Vodafones. You know what I'm talking about, those like massive freaking bricks that they used to make back in the day. And then I found with time that using this phone one-handed, just like the S23 Ultra, it's actually really freaking hard. However, Samsung have this feature called one-handed mode. This can be triggered by swapping down on the lower edge. It makes it so much easier to use if you need to use it with one hand. Although when it comes to using it with both hands, I absolutely love the ergonomics of this phone. The flat screen is slowly growing on me, I have to admit that. I still slightly miss the curved screen the S22 Ultra had, although I still hate the sharp corners on this. But Samsung, if you are watching this video, don't listen to me. For the most part, people love the flat edges and the new symmetry of this phone. I'm really just the minority. But other than that, honestly, the build is great. The physical buttons are like super easy to trigger and reach. I like the placement of the power button as well. The titanium frame, honestly, I never really got to enjoy it. I always rock my phone with a case, mainly because I miss MagSafe. I just recently bought this Mac back case from their website, and let me tell you, it works so well. It really allows me to pretty much stick this to whatever I need to. I think with time I've really learned how to get around things I used to have. I mean, just being able to consume content on a plane with ease is amazing, especially on this 6.8-inch AMOLED 120Hz display. Having or being able to just carry a screen that can output 2600 nits of brightness is so good, especially under the scorching sun like we had during the Grand Prix in Miami. Inside, especially when I'm at the studio, I found that the reflections are so much more minimal than last year's phone. I think it's said that Corning Gorilla Armor is set to reduce reflections by up to 75%, which has been incredible and noticeable for me. But what's even more impressive now is actually the durability of the screen. The glass is so much more sturdier now. I know this for a fact, sadly. I removed my screen protector about a couple of months ago, and the day after, lucky me, I dropped my phone on a concrete ledge and fell into a puddle of water. I really thought I completely shattered the glass, obviously. And not only that, but I thought that my USB-C port was going to malfunction like last year on my S23 Ultra. I literally picked up my phone and I literally walked away with a few scratches and my USB-C port's still working. So I saved myself about $400 right there. Micro scratches are also so much less noticeable this time around, but what's not noticeable on my end has been the grainy display this OLED can output. It's actually super weird because for me it depends on the app I'm using, which leads me to think that it could probably be fixed with a software update. Although as a whole, gray hues and shades have it worst regardless of brightness. Low brightness intensifies the effect of the grainy display. I don't know, it's kind of weird. But since it's not as bad on my end, it's not something that concerns me a lot, to be honest. After all, it's a screen I completely love and always have. I like the fluidity the 120Hz display delivers, the colors and the sharpness the phone can output is amazing, especially in QHD, and for the haptic feedback, I don't know, it's just been so on point. It almost feels like the display is talking to you, especially because within my developer options, I've got scales that perform twice as fast for a fluid UI. Generally, the display for me, it's been so good, and it goes hand in hand with its speakers. These are by no means the best speakers in the world. I actually think they could be a bit more aggressive. I'm that type of person that when I'm home, I like to use my speakers a lot instead of headphones. For me, I tend to use my phones like a portable speaker, and I've gone to the extent of downloading an app called Wavelet in order to enrich some of the tones of my media. Honestly, I haven't noticed a difference even after following a few guides on Reddit. I sort of find myself kind of experiencing the same output. When needing more, I do connect my audio to my Sonos Roam 2 at home. Great connection over Bluetooth. I've never experienced any weird drops or anything like that. I mean, even the connection with Android Auto has been excellent with my cars. It's got a great UI, the fluidity of the scroll is great. I love how the homepage allows for me to take a glimpse at my media but keep like the GPS going. But what I love the most is that the notifications panel at least allows me to read the first few words of a text. I think that's so handy, at least to make sure nobody is like dying or in danger. And what I hate the most, I guess, would have to be the little pausing awkwardness it has after you scroll for a while you're driving. You guys know when I was saying that Android Auto was like super perfect and I had no bugs up to now? Now it's bugging. It's not the first time it does this. I just want to wait a few times to see if it will do it again. But Waze is just non-existent. It just like it just keeps happening. It's just black screen. I sort of have to disconnect the phone and reconnect it, and then it works. Kinda annoying. Also, I don't know if this is an Android Auto feature, but if you lower your volume all the way down, it stops the music. Playing all the way down. Stops it. It's pretty freaking cool. However, there are some GPS issues I've been encountering myself, and luckily it's nothing while I'm driving, which is great, but it's more while I'm walking. I was just recently in Taiwan and I was trying to get back to my hotel. My GPS just couldn't get a proper location on me, and it isn't the first time that all this happens. It's not as frequent as I thankfully thought it would be, but when it happens while we travel, it's kind of really annoying. I did some research and it seems like some people have been having the same issues. I think Eber Anthony also brushed on this, but it seems like some devices struggle to register exact locations. I also do wish this had an SD card. I don't know, with all the traveling we've been doing and all the shooting happening recently, my 512 gigabytes of storage has like become almost useless. I know, it's sort of sad to say. I think this is something that most people want back. I mean, imagine being able to buy a 1TB mini SD card again and just insert it in here. Man, I'm at the point where I need to transfer like all my media to something like Dropbox as a backup solution. I remember back when we sent Jan to the Unpacked event, it was such a pain for him to, I don't know, share footage to me while he was on the go. And whenever he managed to upload video drafts to YouTube to go back and forth with notes through emails, it became such a mess. I don't know, that type of process is just so inefficient. I remember wishing we had found a tool that would allow for us to streamline our process both internally, and I don't know, a system that would just allow for us to work with the reps who were in different time zones reviewing our footage. Dropbox is one of those platforms that allows you to work together by sharing large files, expediting reviews, and delivering projects on time. We recently made this part of our system within our media company. With a few clicks, you can easily share content with external partners, and you can go to the extent of modifying permissions like setting passwords and expiration dates on a shared link for a particular file or folder. Like I said, sharing video drafts for feedback was our biggest pain. We've now ditched the back and forth notes on email with Dropbox Replay. Replay allows Jan and I to provide concise feedback with frame-specific markups and timestamp notes among ourselves and with our reps. That's a huge benefit for us now, and even if your clients or your reps don't have a Dropbox account, it's still fast and easy to transfer files to them from anywhere. No more trying to figure out how to send files or waiting for large files to send. Literally all you have to do is send a link and you're practically done. For a business, Dropbox really has the ability to consistently deliver a reliable working system. The platform just offers a set of tools that are so easy to use. Sharing and collaborating on content honestly has never been easier for us. If you want to get started with Dropbox, I push you to explore it for yourself. I'll leave a link down below so you can check that out. With this system in place, I don't know, as a whole, One UI has become my love. It really has, to be honest. It's just a UI and a OS that delivers right there and then when I need it. A quick example of that for me would be routines. Look, I was trying to find a way to insert a toggle button within my control center that would allow for me to go from FHD to QHD for battery life purposes. But it turns out that with routines, One UI will make it even more efficient. I did set a few routines to be able to trigger my QHD experience, so by default I rock FHD, but as soon as I enter a game, watch YouTube or Amazon Prime, or even while charging the phone automatically toggles the display resolution to QHD. You see, for me, it's these little weird quirks that have allowed me to fall in love with One UI, and it's not just this. Long press text and pictures is an absolute favorite feature of mine. Swipe to select multiple photos in gallery works so well. The filing system, oh my god, the filing system is so much cleaner and everything just makes more sense. Even when connecting it to our content server at the office, it's so easy for us to load and unload media. Customizing your side button for a double tap option or a press and hold option is another one I love. Different media controls for volume, zooming into messages, circle to search. Not that I've used it that often, but it really is a solid feature if you need it. One UI is, I don't know, it's just great. Although not perfect, but for me the pros just outweigh the cons. And the cons really, I don't know, they seem to be more related to third-party apps running on Android. I run into some super weird Instagram bugs like choppy playback for Reels, or Instagram messages sometimes just not loading properly. The YouTube Studio app casually won't let me publish images to my feed sometimes, and I've noticed the YouTube video buffer is so short compared to my older phone. Like, it's not a perfect UI, but considering I've been using this for the past 4 months up to now, these are the only things that have been driving me crazy. This and the push of AI from companies. Look, we get it. Some AI features are so good, like the interpreter. Yeah. No, but honestly, apart from the translation stuff and circle to search, I feel like the adoption of AI features is going to take time, and I guarantee you that people up to now haven't really used them. Look, as a whole, there's one thing you should know as an Android user, especially if you are in North America, but you are going to be the black sheep. To be honest, not a single one of my friends, my girl, or anyone on my side of the family uses an Android device, and those who did just got converted to the white side. Honestly, I've tried to get people to use WhatsApp with me as much as I could, but it usually never sticks. When people send me pictures or videos from MMS, the quality of these look like, I don't know, it was taken with a microwave. The worst part is when you are abroad in a crowded space, these take forever to download. We've been traveling a lot recently, and instead of buying a SIM card in a foreign country, I usually just keep mine and pay per day. So I don't necessarily need to physically swap SIM cards, and while that's a good feature and alternative to have, sending media abroad in crowds is complete hell. For the Miami Grand Prix, I remember my reps were trying to send me their current locations. Instead of going through WhatsApp and sending a current Google Map location, they would just send me a picture of where they were. And with MMS pictures in a crowd being the worst idea, I would never get them. Only hours later, when I was no longer in those massive crowds, would I get the picture. What I'm trying to get at is that you can't force your circle to get Android or just think like Android users, and you're gonna have to deal with the inconveniences of being the black sheep in your group. You can't rewire people to rethink their tech, especially when you are the only one that's doing it differently. I think no longer being part of group messages, trying to use WhatsApp as much as possible, and sharing media as well as content through a different ecosystem is to be expected. However, I know RCS is coming in September to the white side, so we might not have to deal with this any longer. Also, apart from being the black sheep, I'm also a complete mess. In the sense that I suck at charging my phones. Really, I actually really do. I think at this point, those who have been watching us for now, they know that. You guys know that. In fact, last time I charged it completely was before leaving to Taiwan on a 24-hour flying schedule. And before that, I think it was for our day in the life video. So my phone almost never starts a fresh day at 100%, but for the longest time, especially ever since I updated the phone about a few months ago, I felt like my S24 Ultra's battery has been slowly degrading. Like, yeah, I don't regularly charge it, but I've always treated my phones the same way. The interesting thing is that recently, below 40%, the phone just barely lasts now. Like, it really doesn't last at all. And when it hits 10%, that's just the equivalent of having like a percent left. Although the other day I woke up in my sleep and I've realized that truly, I think this started to happen ever since I changed my screen resolution to QHD, which was like a week before our day in the life video. It never crossed my mind that QHD could eat so much battery, but ever since I went back to full HD as my default screen resolution, I've noticed a big improvement. And I'm not sure if this could be part of a bug, but that's my experience with it. But on average, when I first got it, I was able to go almost a couple of days using it. It all depends, I guess, on whether or not I'm using and abusing the camera, of course. Surprisingly, this has been a phone that in certain scenarios has been prioritized over my Sony Alpha Mark IV for pictures. A few weeks ago, when I went to our local Grand Prix here in Montreal, I decided to bring this as my main photo cam. I wanted it because I knew it would allow for me to quickly take some pictures, edit them on Lightroom and post them before the race started. It's just like so good at doing that. It's so good at taking raw photos and being able to edit them on the fly. My biggest pet peeve though is the aggressive post-processing at times. On top of that, there's not even an option to keep the original photos. During the race, for example, the post-processing the images were going through was just completely crappy. Even with intelligent optimization set to a minimum, it tweaks the photos real bad, and you can't even salvage them when it comes to importing them on Lightroom or even tweaking them. They just break and they are unusable. The only thing that was usable right there and then was the S Pen. I almost never use it except when I edit photos sometimes. It's so much easier to control sliders with a pen, it's like unmatched. It's my favorite thing to do with it, and potentially taking pictures with it from time to time. I think as a whole though, I've honestly taken some really nice pictures with this phone these past few months. Shutter lag is also negligible when it comes to shooting super fast moving objects. They also added some electronic ND filters which are kind of interesting to use, and I mean, for me the 5x telephoto is so much better. Like, it's far more useful in a lot of conditions and I can get away with a lot more angles. Plus, being a 50 megapixel sensor, you have a lot more to work with. The reason I made this video is just because I honestly just wanted to touch upon all the points I've experienced these past few months. I just wanted to talk about my own experience and how this phone has been performing up to now. It's my daily and I haven't looked back ever since it came out. For me, the S24 Ultra is probably the best phone on the market as of right now. I know I don't necessarily need to have the best phone on me at all times. In fact, sometimes I wonder, I wonder how my experience would be using something like the OnePlus 12R. I don't know, I feel like ever since I switched to Android, I can switch devices a lot more frequently now, and it would probably just allow for me to try more phones and give you my own personal opinion on them. With all this being said, I review tech for a living, I incorporate them into my lifestyle, and I try my best to give you proper feedback. If you are on the verge of buying an S24 Ultra, I don't think you'll regret it. Always buy from reputable sellers and make sure they have a good return policy. I'm gonna leave you with that. I'll probably do an 8-month or 10-month review on this. Hope you like this video. Give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next Sunday, like always. Take care.